all I wanted to do was play video games all weekend. But we are here with a Sunday episode of The Blip. Where to begin? Oh, Kotaku, oh, Kotaku, oh, Kotaku. A long time ago, hold on, I actually have to pull up when Kotaku, in all honesty, was founded. We actually have to go and look. Kotaku was founded in 2004, so 19 years ago. I would say around 2006, 2005 maybe was the first time that I ever discovered that, Kotaku existed. And back then, Kotaku was wildly different from the website that it is today. Kotaku back then it was very much a weeb website where it spoke about Japanese culture. Hey, here are the top 5 places to visit if you visit Osaka, or 10 destinations to visit if you're an anime fan in Tokyo, things along those lines. And it catered very much to the anime and the Western audience that were major fans of the Eastern style of life and also Eastern media. Then I would say around 2000 and between 2007 2009, there was like this gradual shift where they started moving away from doing the East Asia coverage and content, and then they started focusing more on gaming. And then by 2009 2010, gaming became the mainstay on the website. It was the thing that they talked about the most. They were doing guides, they were doing interviews, they were going to E3 and all of these PAX East and all these other conventions in order to check out, what's new in gaming, what's happening in gaming, how are things going on in gaming. Then I would say around 2018, there was this subtle shift in the company where Kotaku was no longer just talking about gaming. Well, no, I shouldn't say they weren't just talking about gaming. Because up until then, you had Jason Schreier, who's doing fantastic interview pieces where he was getting these major scoops in these corporations that were just either collapsing or doing shady shit. Like A1 journalism was happening. But it felt as though the A1 journalism was basically all being placed upon the shoulders of Jason Schreier. Like, it's just like, unless he was the person that was going out and looking for these scoops and these leaks, Kotaku wasn't really, or unless some of the other writers really weren't interested in actually doing the legwork for the journalism. As a result, you started to get more opinion pieces where people were putting more of their personality into the news media. And this isn't something that is only localized to Kotaku themselves. This also happened in general news media as well, where you started to see news shows that weren't actually run by journalists, but they were actually run by I forgot what they're called, the figureheads. Like they were run by opinionated people that would just show up and they would give their opinions on the news, and then you would either agree with their opinion or disagree with their opinion. There weren't journalists that were there to basically give you the facts and then have you come to your own conclusion about the facts. And this type of opinion based news was across the entire spectrum. You had Rachel Maddow on NBC, you had Cuomo on CBS, you had Hannity on Fox. All of these people they are not, well, in the case of Rachel Maddow, I would say that she is more now a journalist now that she stepped away. If you haven't sat down and gone through like Bagman or any of the other work that she's essentially done over the last few years in regards to corruption that happened in the past, like 50 years ago, it's absolutely fantastic. But very much for both Cuomo and Hannity, it was more, this is the news, here's my opinion on the news. I don't care if you agree with me, I don't care if you disagree with me, whatever. Kotaku was basically in that exact same space where it was no longer about telling you about video game news. Hey, PlayStation's doing this. Hey, Xbox is doing that. Hey, this game is doing this. Hey, this game is doing that. It was no longer about, hey, if you're looking for, completing this one mission in this game, this is how you do it. Hey, if you're looking for the most optimal loadouts, this is how you do it. People may shit on IGN and people may attack IGN a lot, but IGN does that. If you go to IGN's website, you'll see all of the breaking news, and then beneath the breaking news, you'll see top 10 best stratagems to use in Helldivers 2. You'll see this is where you go to complete this mission in Dragon's Dogma 2. There are a bunch of articles on the website designed to basically pull traffic for things that people are essentially interested in. Now, recently, and I do mean fairly recently, we had this major shift, major breakup in regards to Kotaku and their editor in chief, where essentially the editor in chief quit because of the new direction that they were going in, and the blow up was essentially that upper echelons of leadership wanted to switch Kotaku away from the more opinionated news coverage and move more towards game guides. Less news, more game guides. And the person who was the editor in chief absolutely lost her shit. I think the editor in chief was Jen Glennon. She exited her role. She left I believe, firmly in the decision that to invert Kotaku's editorial strategy to deprioritize news in favor of game guides is fundamentally misguided given the current infrastructure of the website. This decision is directly contradicted by months of traffic data and shows an astonishing disregard for the livelihoods of remaining writers and editors who work here. According to sources familiar with the matter, Kotaku staffers are expected to create 50 guides in total a week. Now, that's not 50 guides for one person. That's just 50 guides across all staffers. And in my opinion, that's easy. There's nothing difficult about that at all. And the reason why I say that is because if I was to take a step back and I decided that the only thing I wanted to do was game guides, I would look at all the games that I play. And currently we are playing, we've got Destiny, we've got Warframe, we've got Ghost Recon Breakpoint, Dragon's Dogma 2, Horizon Forbidden West, Division 2, and Helldivers 2. It takes 5 minutes to make a loadout. Like, I've got more than 12 loadouts in Division 2, plus a bunch of like tips and tricks for XP farming that you can do. For Horizon Forbidden West, I haven't started that game yet, so that'll be a great experience of just going through that and creating guides for that. Dragon's Dogma 2, bunch of guides that you can create, especially for the vocations and where people can go and find special abilities for their vocation. Same thing with Warframe, same thing with Helldivers 2. You could even do something for World of Warcraft in the new Plunder Storm mode that they have, like the best skills and abilities to go and get in order for you to use in order to eliminate the enemy. And then Destiny 2 is a loadout making machine. If you take a step back and you just go on fucking YouTube, I'm not saying to steal content, but you can definitely reference builds that are made by like Aztecross, Datto, a bunch of other Destiny 2 streamers, like in a thing. It's not difficult to create game guides. But for whatever reason, it has caused chaos and panic because all of these individuals or the remaining staffers and writers are in open revolt because the problem is over the years they've become accustomed to writing opinion pieces where you like how many times have you opened up a Kotaku article and the article is written by somebody who obviously didn't play the game, who they basically maybe sat down for 5 minutes, watched a video on the game, and then they commented their opinion on the game, but they didn't actually sit down and play through the game. The issue is that Kotaku's basically looking to swing the axe to get rid of all of those people. Where, okay, if you want to do like the opinionated stuff, go do the opinionated stuff on your own platform and leave our platform to basically just being game guides and the occasional news story, which is I wouldn't really say it's an inverse of what IGN does, but it's definitely slightly more tilted in the opposite direction. I would say if IGN is more 70% news, no. IGN is more 60% news, 40% game guides. whereas Kotaku's probably looking to be more 70% game guides, 30% news. And they've effectively lost their shit. They got people up in arms. They don't want to do it. They're saying that this is the death of journalism, blah, blah, blah. Well, journalism technically died a few years ago. Journalism died when it was no longer about presenting the facts of the case, and it became more about essentially inserting your opinion or your agenda into a story. Kotaku wants to get out of that business. They want to remove the sex. They want to remove the politics. They want to remove the identities from their website, and they want to specifically focus on doing nothing but creating content for gaming. Now, a lot of people would be like, "Well, what caused the major rift?" Major rift was definitely caused way, way back in the day during was it Modern Warfare 2? Maybe it was Modern Warfare 3. It was hold on. That's no, sorry. It was 2012. And like I hate pointing this out, but this was definitely like the shift in the culture that began to more or less inject like this weird direction. And it was an article written by Patricia Hernandez. I think Patricia Hernandez, when she's doing just like regular journalism, is really good. But she was definitely one of the pioneers early on for Kotaku's switch to more opinion pieces. Where in 2012 she wrote an article, 3 words I said to the man I defeated in Gears of War that I'll never say again. Which is, basically she killed somebody and she said I R-worded you. If you don't know what that is, I don't know how to help you with that. I don't. Now, Patricia Hernandez herself is a survivor of SA, and that's not funny in any way, shape, or form. Like, if you know me, then you definitely know like my stance is for people who commit that crime, we should be able to throw them into a volcano and watch them slowly roast. But in 2012, this was the beginning of the opinion pieces essentially making it onto the main page and then getting a ridiculous amount of traction that just slowly started to snowball where suddenly everybody had an opinion about everything. Does this game have a overly sexualized character? Is the overly sexualized character a male? I'm not going to say anything. If the overly sexualized character is a female, then I'm outraged. Does this game appeal only to the male gaze? If it does, I'm going to complain. If the game also exists that is only for the female gaze, like let's say Hatoful Boyfriend, I'm not going to complain about it. I'm going to write 7 articles about how you can find yourself the best husbando you'll ever find in any way, shape, or form. And it was that shift that slowly started to turn people away from Kotaku. Like that idea that it was basically a double standard, like it was Hippocratic, where it's like, hey, if you create something that is only designed for the male gaze, I'm offended. But if you create something that's for the female gaze, I'm going to champion and I'm going to cheer for it. This actually, funnily enough, is compounded on in today. Well, not even today, a few months ago, in regards to Suicide Squad Killer Justice League, where there were certain complaints about how we must defend Harley Quinn because she was desexualized, and how Harley Quinn was, empowered to retake her image from like the male gender identity and the male gaze and blah 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 blah. But then you have the character Harley Quinn basically commit sexual assault in the video game, and there's not a peep. No coverage, no reference, nothing along those lines. It is just essentially dropped. So, in my opinion, we've been working towards this for a really, really long time. It's funny that you get to the end of it and you're like, in my opinion, yes, because my channel is actually around my opinion regarding certain things. But we have been, as a community, moving more and more towards people being sick and tired of, like I said, the sex and the politics being injected into everything. People just want a game. You want to go to a gaming site for gaming. You want to go to a sports site for sports. You don't want to go to a gaming site to be told by someone that you should feel bad because this character is overly sexualized and created explicitly for men. And then when you click on that person's information and you go to that person's Twitter bio, you discover that like they basically engage in the female gaze in regards to certain male characters. You really don't feel like dealing with that type of shit. So, in my opinion, this is great on Kotaku. Like, it's a fantastic move by Kotaku in an attempt to basically, like, let's just say, okay, so we go to the main page for Kotaku right now, and it looks general, like it looks normal. Like there's nothing too serious, but you definitely see the shift where on the main page right now, it's more where to find all the weapons in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, where the best materia are. Then you get the regular news with DLC, Dragon's Dogma 2, Halo season ending, Larian Studios. It looks more normal. It looks like a video game website where the gaming tips and guides are way at the top. The current news of the day is also there. It's no longer, hey, you should feel bad about being a man. There's none of that anymore, which is probably like a good move in my opinion on their part. But yeah, wanted to talk about it because it's kind of insane that we've arrived here, but you're going to be seeing a whole lot more of this as we go forward, where a lot more gaming studios, well, not more gaming studios, a lot more game news publishers are going to be getting rid of basically the writers that are pretending to be journalists and cover video games again. Like we're shifting back into that. You're seeing that already with news companies out there that are firing a lot of their more prominent heads, some of them for doing nefarious shit, some of them because they're moving away from that type of news. But I think that this is a great move on Kotaku's part. If it ends up basically trimming the people that are poisoning the fat, it's best to get them off, reset everything, and start moving more towards just game coverage the way in which they were back in like 2009 2010, before the opinion pieces started just flooding the website and they were everywhere and they were getting hate from every single fucking direction. This may lead to Kotaku, in all my honest opinion, actually becoming a reputable game review news tips website again. But let me know what you think about the whole Kotaku situation. Comment down below. Let me know. Once again, like I said, this is just a special episode of the Blip where we're talking about like the whole Kotaku news. And I will catch you in the next one. Peace.